Have you ever paid $20 for a meditation app, listened to a soothing voice tell you to observe your thoughts without judgment, and then spent the next 10 minutes mentally composing a passive-aggressive email to your coworker, planning your grocery list for the week, and wondering if you could train a squirrel to steal your neighbor's Amazon packages? Congratulations, you are a perfectly functioning, beautifully broken modern human. And you've just performed a sacred ritual of our time, the desperate and utterly failed attempt at slow living. It's a beautiful fantasy, isn't it? The one we're sold on every wellness blog and Instagram feed. You see her, right? The woman in the beige linen outfit, her hair in a messy but perfect bun, reading a very thick, very serious book in a sun-drenched room with at least 7 thriving plants. She doesn't have a phone, or if she does, it's only to take a picture of the artisanal sourdough bread she baked this morning, which she named Clint Yeastwood. She is calm. She is mindful. She is not real. The real version is us. We buy the book, we buy the linen pants, which, by the way, wrinkle if you even think about sitting down. We might even buy the sourdough starter, but we can't do the one thing the whole fantasy is built on. We can't sit still. For more than, say, 3 minutes? We crave slowness, but we are physically, spiritually, and neurologically allergic to boredom. Our desire to unplug is directly proportional to the magnetic force pulling our hand towards a phone in our pocket. We have what I call a productivity Tourette's. We'll be sitting there, supposedly being present, and our brain just blurts out, "You could be optimizing your LinkedIn profile right now." It's a hilarious paradox. We've turned relaxation into a competitive sport. We have to-do lists for doing nothing. Okay, 10 a.m., meditate. 10:15, mindful coffee sipping. 10:30, stare wistfully out the window. We track our meditation streaks on an app like we're logging into a video game for our daily rewards. Achievement unlocked, breathed for 5 minutes without having an existential crisis. We want the peace of a Tibetan monk with the efficiency of Amazon Prime delivery. We want enlightenment, and we want it now, preferably with free shipping. So why are we like this? Why do we romanticize a lifestyle that our brains are actively trying to sabotage? Well, for one, we're living in the most advanced dopamine casino in human history. Your brain isn't broken, it's just working exactly as designed in an environment that is not. Every notification, every like, every 15-second video of a cat falling off a table is a tiny pull on a slot machine lever. Ding! A little hit of pleasure. Ding! Another one. It's cheap, it's easy, and it's constant. Slow living, on the other hand, what's its reward? A vague sense of well-being that might show up eventually? That's like telling a gambler to stop playing the slots and instead invest in a 30-year government bond. It's sensible, it's smart, but it's excruciatingly slow. Our brains hear long-term peace and translate it to imminent death by boredom. And then there's the gospel of our era, the Holy Church of Hustle. For the last decade or two, we've been marinated in the idea that every second of our lives must be productive, optimized, monetized. A hobby isn't a hobby unless it can be a side gig. Rest isn't rest unless it's active recovery for your next workout. We feel guilty for watching a movie without also folding laundry or answering emails. We've been conditioned to see empty time not as an opportunity for rest, but as a moral failure, a sign of weakness. You're just sitting there? You know, Jeff Bezos didn't build Amazon by being in the moment, right? So when we finally try to live slow, our internal drill sergeant starts screaming at us for being lazy, unproductive freeloaders in our own lives. This bleeds directly into the bigger, more insidious problem, our wildly unrealistic expectations about, well, everything. The slow living fantasy is just a symptom of a much larger disease. We expect our jobs to be not just a source of income, but a source of profound passion, personal fulfillment, a great salary, a 4-day work week, a ping pong table in the break room, and a boss who is also our life coach. We want a career that feels like a TED Talk, but pays like a Wall Street banker. We apply the same logic to our relationships. We're not looking for a partner. We're looking for a soulmate who will arrive fully formed, requiring no difficult conversations, no messy compromises, and no effort. Someone who intuitively understands why we're mad without us having to say anything, who shares all our niche interests, and also happens to look like a movie star. We want a relationship that's a finished product, not a messy, frustrating, beautiful construction project that you have to work on every single day. We want the romance of a 90s rom-com, forgetting that those movies are 2 hours long and conveniently end right before the couple has their first argument about whose turn it is to take out the recycling. We want to get fit, but we want the body of a professional athlete after 6 weeks of fun workouts we saw on TikTok. We want to be well-read, but we want the wisdom of a library by listening to book summaries on Blinkist while we commute. We want the outcomes without the process. The process is boring. The process is hard. The process involves discomfort and failure. We want the highlight reel, but life, unfortunately, is mostly the unedited behind-the-scenes footage where the lighting is bad and everyone keeps forgetting their lines. We've been trained by a world of instant gratification to believe that anything worth having shouldn't take too long or be too difficult to obtain. We see the curated endpoints on social media, the perfect wedding, the dream job announcement, the flawless vacation photo, and we mistake it for the entire journey. We're trying to live up to a collage of impossibly perfect moments, and then we wonder why we feel like we're constantly failing. We're not failing at life, we're failing to meet an imaginary standard that was designed to sell us something, a product, a lifestyle, an app. So what's the answer? To just give up and embrace the chaos? To lean into our phone addiction and accept our fate as productivity-obsessed gremlins in our own lives? Maybe. Or maybe the first step is just to lower the bar, dramatically. What if slow living isn't about moving to a farm and churning your own butter? What if it's just putting your phone in another room for a single hour? What if it's just washing the dishes without listening to a podcast? Not to achieve some higher state of being, but just to prove to yourself that you can survive a few minutes alone with your own thoughts, even if those thoughts are mostly about squirrels and passive-aggressive emails. You can be the person who wants to read Tolstoy and the person who spends an hour scrolling through memes about cats. These two people can and do exist in the same body. And that's not a bug, it's a feature. We spend so much time and energy trying to become this idealized, consistent, logical version of a human being, the one who always eats healthy, wakes up early, and never procrastinates. But that person doesn't exist. We're chasing a ghost. We are fundamentally, and often wonderfully, illogical. We want to live slow, but can't sit still. We have unrealistic expectations because we're creatures of hope and imagination. We're messy, we're inconsistent, and we're kind of a disaster. And it's exhausting trying to pretend we're not. So here's a final thought. Maybe the most unrealistic expectation of all isn't about achieving the perfect life, but the deeply ingrained belief that we're supposed to be one coherent type of person in the first place. What if the real slow living, the real mindfulness, is just finally giving ourselves permission to be the complicated, contradictory, and beautifully illogical humans we already are? What if you just let yourself be for a minute? Just what would that even look like?